You're welcome. You're welcome. So, we just talked about game streaming services on the Thursday episode. So now we're talking about oh wait, Thursday. Hold on. It wasn't Thursday. It was Wednesday. My bad. Wednesday episode. We were talking about streaming services. Today we're talking about Amazon, the company, its rise to the top. We're talking statistics and everything. So Nick, first, I want to get your thoughts. How do you feel about Amazon as far as how big it's gotten so far?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they are convenient. They're innovating. I mean, just ease of use, the convenience of it all. I'm a Prime member. I pay for their Amazon Video. I pay for all that stuff. I mean, it's so convenient. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so the company in 2020 has made about 37 billion in sales, which is insane. And since a few years ago, they now have their own logistics company that runs and delivers packages for them. They bought out the pill service, so now they have their own pharmacy. They're talking about selling new cars. So they're doing all this stuff. Even in the midst of while Jeff Bezos is stepping down, and I've already talked about that. I talked about it in the previous episode, but Jeff Bezos stepped down or is stepping down, and the company is still their growth is phenomenal. Like they are making like I think it says they made up for 45% of the U.S. e-commerce in 2019, and in 2020 they made up to 47% of the e-commerce uh market. So like they are dominating the e-commerce market, and it doesn't surprise me because Amazon has a good foothold and they have that niche that everybody wants to be a part of. Because like before, that this didn't exist. I mean, you're old enough to remember that this didn't exist before a certain time, and people couldn't just order stuff and have it shipped to their door like that easily. And then Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos was like, hey, this idea, I'm going to take it from books to products. And he did that with great ease. And now I think he has moved back to the top richest person in the world.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he
I didn't hear that.
yeah, I think he actually has. And it's funny reading over some of the stuff I've read. It's like there are 100 million Amazon Prime members, and that's a lot of people. Like that's a lot of people. But Prime members, from what I read, typically spend, and I don't know how much you spend, but typically spend over $1,000 a year on Amazon. Your thoughts on that? I mean, $1,000 a year, and non-Prime members spend about 500. I mean, that's insane.
That's a year.
Yeah, yeah. They
$1,000
say
a
they
year.
spend the average Prime member spends about $1,000 a year.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know exactly how much I spend on Amazon, but unless it's for groceries, most of my shopping now is done on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like no joke. Clothes, uh, random things, gadgets. Like no matter what I get, I usually the first place I go is Amazon. Unless it's like a very niche specific topic and I'm looking for something very particular and I want to go directly to the company that I'm purchasing from, it's almost
Mhm.
always Amazon. I
Well, and
rarely go and purchase from stores anymore.
yeah, and that's I haven't really been to stores. The only places I go to is Lowe's if I need home improvement stuff, and that's something I see that's gonna stick around, I hope. But as far as like home improvement items like clocks or bookshelves or stuff like that, you can literally order them off of Amazon. And they actually said Amazon has 1.1 million home improvement items on display on their site. And they're trying to shift people away from brick and mortar stores. And that's sad. And there is a lot of brick and mortar stores that are hanging in there. But when you think about it, Amazon is a big competitor as far as that. They have cheap products and they have good products and they have great products, and they're selling all those on their site, and you can choose what you want to buy. You have a whole list of stuff. So you're not constantly like you go to a store and you're like, oh, there's only one bookshelf, whereas you have thousands maybe of bookshelves to choose from and order. And one of the things I realized is, and they're targeting is millennials. Millennials are Amazon's biggest target market, and because millennials are the ones that have uh, are buying houses and growing their families and needing baby products and clothes, like you said, buying clothes and shampoos and even food, because you can order food off of Amazon. So you think about it, you really don't have to leave your house. You have to go work, of course, if you work. I mean, but you can literally sit in your living room, click a button, and you have within a day or two, depending on where you live, have that item delivered to your door and don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean that's really why we order from there so often. Like even there's some grocery stuff that we'll actually get from there. Most we get in the store, but I mean, for me to get to like a Walmart, it's kind of an inconvenience. It's not terrible. I mean, like a half hour, 20 minutes to a half hour to get there. I would honestly
Mhm.
rather just click the button, wait 2 days and get it, than hop in the car, drive through the traffic to get to Walmart, deal with all the people at Walmart, and then leave and come back. It's just
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've been to Walmart for Christmas the one year, and actually this Christmas, the recent Christmas, we actually just ordered everything off of Amazon. We didn't want to fight the crowds, we didn't want to deal with people, and COVID was going on, and we're just like, why bother? Why
yeah.
why push ourselves to a point where we don't have to? And yeah, it took a while for things to get here because COVID was going on and things were slow. But we got everything, and Christmas went well, and no one complained about the quality because everything was the same quality as you get as Walmart. So it
Mhm.
really didn't matter what you ordered; it still came out good. Um, and you know what? It's kind of funny because you got the Amazon Cyber Mondays. I mean, I go on Cyber Mondays. I order a lot of stuff on Cyber Mondays. It's it's almost as enticing to order on your phone for me. Like I actually get excited when that package arrives versus when I go to the store, I'm just trudging through the store. I'm like, man, these people are driving me nuts. I actually get annoyed. Whereas when I get an Amazon package and that truck shows up at my front door, I'm all excited. It's like Christmas for me. I don't know how you feel, but it's like Christmas for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. For me, I'm living in Charleston, West Virginia right now. When I go to Walmart, I can usually never find what I'm looking for. I go to Best Buy, I can usually never find what I'm looking for. Amazon, I'm almost probably about 75% going to find what I want, particularly because I'm usually very brand specific on the things that I purchase. And a lot of that stems in like the tech arena. So I'm very particular about the things that I purchase. And if I can't go to Walmart and get it, I know I can go to Amazon and pick it up.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
with that Amazon Cyber Monday deal, I was so mad that I missed it. But I don't know how much you pay attention to photography stuff. But did you see that like a year or two ago, they accidentally mispriced a bunch of like really high priced camera photography gear, and people were
No.
getting it for like, I think some of the stuff was like $10,000, and they were getting it for like 100. And people
No
just started
way.
scooping up all of this stuff. Yeah, it was like for some reason the photography section, it was like lenses and housings and like bodies and all this stuff. And for some reason they were all mispriced on Amazon, and people were just scooping up a bunch of them.
How does that happen though? I mean, like that dude, if I had known, you would be guaranteed I would have picked up a $10,000 camera. I literally
Oh
would have.
yeah,
Cuz like
absolutely.
if I could get
People
a
just turn around
$10,000
and sell it.
camera, yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't even have sold it cuz I would have used it. I would have been like I could have started my videography career with that. Like that would have been awesome. I could have bought a high-end camera, one of the good ones. Like that would have been awesome. But I've heard my buddy, he the one that just Justin Simpson that was just on with me to talk about SpaceX. He actually had a mic. I can't remember how much he said it exactly was, but he got it for like I think he said $2 or something because it got glitched out, and they literally had this mic or I think it was a mic. I'll have to ask him again, but it was literally glitched out for $2, and he's like, I can't pass up that opportunity. It's a really high end equipment, like so. I don't know how that happens, how you is someone going around with a label gun just be like, well, this is free range for everybody, or what's going on? But it's not like really, it's not like Walmart with a label gun. But if someone's doing that in their warehouse, they're like, haha, let's see how much inventory we can move today. Like we're clearing warehouses today. Let's just label this down to $100. I mean, I have no idea how that even happens on that kind of thing.
No, and I now every Cyber Monday, like I'm scanning all the photography stuff. It's probably not going to happen again, but every
I
year
think
now I'm like looking at it. I'm like, what's marked down, what's mismarked.
What I think they caught that, now they're like, "We're not letting that happen again." So,
Right, yeah.
it's kind of funny we're talking about markdowns, but, Amazon's, let's talk about their sales. Let's talk about sales real quick. Amazon each second, and I know I've talked about this before, I'm gonna go over it again because I feel like this needs to be touched on because it's insane numbers. But every second, Amazon records $4,722 in sales, and each minute, those sales amount to $283,000, even. And in an hour, they average $17 million every hour. That to me is an insane amount of money to be earning every hour. Now let's talk when we're talking sales. Every minute their site goes down. In 2013, let's talk about that. Their site was down for 40 minutes. They lost an average of $5 million in sales. So it's 120. It's saying here 120,000 each minute that site's down. And for 40 minutes, that's an insane amount of money. $5 million. So every time their site goes down, they're losing $17 million now. They're not gaining it. So, their sales, they speak for themselves though. And you know what? That's fine. Amazon has their own products. If we want to talk about sales, they have Amazon Basics. They have a whole line of stuff. They have their battery lines. They have everything you could buy. You could buy directly Amazon's direct stuff, or you could buy direct from brand names. But Amazon has their own stuff. So you really, if you're like, well, I'm actually thinking about buying a shirt, and they're like, you see the shirt and it's like Amazon Basics. You're like, oh, I'll give it a try. And you're like, wow, this is really good. Then you'll buy from Amazon. You'll buy their products, and they'll gain more sales because they've created that product. They are selling that product. They don't have to do anything other than sell it to you. So like they're gaining more sales. So with those numbers, what are your thoughts on those numbers?
I think something that a lot of people probably don't think about is like an Amazon FBA. It's their fulfillment by Amazon program. And basically, you can go and set up an account for Amazon and you can purchase up your own products, like find clearance products or whatever, and go list them on Amazon. Then Amazon turns around and sells those items. You send them to Amazon. When they sell them, you get a check. Well,
Hmm.
Amazon then also gets a cut. Well, there are many business owners out there that are making millions of dollars in sales every year by using the Amazon FBA program. So that means they don't have to do a single thing. Other people are scooping up these products and other people are selling the products that they're getting, and Amazon's just taking a cut off the top. And I have to imagine some of those sales numbers have to be accounted for in that Amazon FBA fulfillment program.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never even heard of that, so I'm gonna have to look at that. So what is it called again? Amazon FBA?
FBA, yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna have to look into
actually
that, but
it's something that I was looking at with a buddy that I work with actually, and we started finding ways to get a bunch of really clearanced items, like
okay.
80, 90% off sometimes. You can get like a $10 item for like pennies. And
Wow.
you basically scan it in Amazon, like you take it to like UPS or whatever, throw the label on there, send it to them, and then once they sell it on Amazon, then you get a payout. And you just, I mean, people will find specific products that are like selling really hot or they kind of follow the trends. And I mean, you could get products manufactured on Alibaba or AliExpress and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Start creating your own kind of storefront within Amazon. And then, I mean, you really don't have to worry about the shipping. Amazon comes, picks it up, or UPS or whatever. They hold on to all the inventory, so you don't have to deal with any of the inventory. And then, yeah, when it sells, you get paid. It's really simple. It's a really good idea. But that's why, like, when you see if you're going to purchase a product and it says like this product costs $20, or from other sellers it costs X amount of dollars. Those other sellers are people that are in that Amazon FBA program, and they are listing that product themselves onto it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it said, I'm reading some statistics, if I can speak. There was over 225 sellers on Amazon with over $100,000 in sales in 2019. Um, which their worldwide sellers with over $100,000 in 2018 has increased to 225 thousand sellers in 2019, with over $100,000 in sales, which is an insane number. So you're talking about like these sellers who are selling stuff, and they're making money. Like they're not trying to screw you. Some are, some aren't, and they've tried to limit that. They've done really well with that. Um, but these people are actually, this is their livelihood. They buy and sell on Amazon constantly. They're like a day trader. That's what
Yeah,
their job is. They sell you a product. They try and get you into their store. And you know what's funny? Amazon will put some stuff on the top. But if you scroll down, if you are scrolling down to the very bottom, you can find some good stuff, and it is decent stuff. It's not horrible. But Amazon will put their products first, and they will put products that are sponsored first, and then you will see products that are sold by Amazon sellers who have their own storefronts and stuff. And sometimes those products are just as good as the high end products.
a lot of times, like with the products like that I picture for like Amazon FBA and the stuff that we're looking at, they you have an app and you can scan that product in the store. So say you find an item that's like 50% off. It's $100. It costs $50. You scan that item and it will show you the Amazon listings and what it's currently going for on Amazon. So you could say, yeah, it's 50% off at $50. On Amazon, they're selling it for $100 over there. So now I'm going to go list that product on Amazon for $100 and make a $50 profit off of that one product. Granted, they take a cut off the top. So I mean, those $200,000 in sales that you're talking about, I mean, it's not $200,000 profit. That's literally $200,000 in sales. So I have to imagine the profit is probably significantly less than that, but still, 200. Could you set up a storefront and make $200,000 in sales in a year?
Uh, Not me. I'm not. I don't know. I mean, I've always thought about creating like a merch line if this podcast really takes off, creating a merch line for the podcast, or even a merch line for like some kind of YouTube channel I start. Like I'm actually considering, like I know I talked to you about this, starting a YouTube channel for this podcast, and and doing a live stream of certain episodes and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I could sell on Amazon as far as like maybe creating an Etsy store or something. But like I think that taking Amazon takes like you said, a actual significant cut. I think I've looked into it before. I don't remember the exact numbers, but they do take a significant cut for you to sell on their platform. And like you talked about, and this is going back to social media platforms. You're on borrowed land. You are renting that shop. It's like it just like owning a storefront. You are owning a storefront. You are renting space from them. You are paying them to keep your stuff on their site. And I like your thing. I've used it several times on borrowed land. I've actually used your analogy, and it's interesting because it doesn't matter what you're on the platforms. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, Amazon, Facebook. Um, you are on borrowed land. You are renting a storefront from Amazon to share your goods and sell them, and to use their logistics line to get them to your clients. So I don't know if I per se could do that, because it just seems like a lot of overhead costs and a lot of hassle, because you have to get those products, you have to sell them. It just seems like a lot of overhead that I'm just not into. But there are people out there who are making a significant amount of money doing this, and this is their day-to-day routine. So I mean, I don't know. Could you get into something like that?
I mean, it's something that we've already, because we found a way to get products really cheap, we've already started scooping up some, and we have an Amazon FBA account. We haven't started sending anything out there yet, but really it comes down, the people that are successful with it are the ones that kind of find the hot products and they sell the hot products. If you're going and scooping up everything and trying to sell everything, a lot of stuff, Amazon's very strict. So like what we were talking about, you're living on borrowed land,
Hmm.
you're you have a very good possibility, if you're not following their guidelines really strict, to get yanked from it. And I mean, there's certain categories that you have to technically be a wholesaler in order to be able to sell, like through Amazon. And they kind of put up all these barriers to entry to kind of prevent people from just throwing up anything on there.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of guidelines and rules like that that can prevent you from just throwing anything up. Um, we're just kind of testing it out. We've never done it before, so we're just trying to see what it takes and how it goes, and if it's something that we could see going long term, then maybe we'll put a lot more money and time into it, but right now we're just kind of playing around with it.
Yeah, so I'm actually on the site right now looking at it, and it says the individual plan costs about 99 cents per unit sold. The professional plan costs about 39.99 a month, on no matter how many units you sell. Um, so that's actually quite interesting. So 99 cents compared to um 39.99. I don't know. Like you said, you can go on Alibaba, you can get stuff like that. Um you can buy cheap products and sell them, and if they're good quality, if you know they're good quality and you were marking them at a decent price, people will buy them. And for 99 cents per item sold, that's not bad. And additional selling fees, it says. Um you sell then for it says for the individual plan, you sell fewer than 40 units a month. You're still deciding what to sell. You don't want to plan to advertise or use advanced selling tools. Now, the professional one, it says you sell more than 30 units a month. You want to advertise your products. You want to qualify for top placements on products. So it all comes down to, if you're like listeners listening to this and like, oh my goodness, I could go on Amazon and sell stuff. If you're not really behind it, like 100%, then don't do it. Don't do the $39 a month. Do like the 99 cent one, because it says it's like you're still deciding what to sell. Like, go into that. I might try that. I might find some products, like, and try what you're doing and sell them. But as far as, like, thinking about doing it, if you're selling it, if you want to make a career, do it slowly. Start out selling a few items, see how it goes. Do not just go gun ho, quit your job and do this. I know that you always talk about leaving the 9 to 5, and I agree with you. I think that, if you start your own 9 to 5 where you're doing your own thing, that's great. And I'm working on that. I am trying that. And I have plans to take over my father's business. So technically, I will be still in 9 to 5, but I'm owning the business. But as far as like jumping gun ho into something without a plan, and I think we've talked about this in your podcast, if I remember correctly. I don't remember much from our episode, but you need a plan. Like, I tell people, you need a plan. If you're gonna jump gun ho into starting a business, like especially selling on Amazon, get a plan together. So write down what you want to sell. Look over different offers and items and pricing and statistics and analytics, because you don't want to just jump into selling something and not know it's going to succeed, and then you're stuck with all these products in your house and you can't sell them.
I think a lot of the people that I've listened to that have talked about making $1 million in sales or whatever it is, it all started for them as like a hobby, something to make a little extra side income. Maybe they were trying to make a couple of hundred extra bucks during the month or something like that. And I'll throw up products on Amazon, make a couple extra spare dollars. And then by doing that, they're like, okay, well, every time we put this up, it sells right away.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go try to scoop up all of that stuff because that product disappears as soon as we put it up there. And they start finding different products like that just do really well. And then it turns into something where they got a full-fledged business out of it. I
Yeah.
personally, I talking about the borrowed land thing, I probably wouldn't solely plant myself on Amazon and say that I'm going to make my living off of Amazon, because you break one rule and you're gone. There goes your entire livelihood. But I think it would definitely be a great way to kind of segue yourself or kind of transition into running your own online store. Maybe at that point you see, okay, I saw a guy that he sells watches. He makes a killing selling watches. Like, if watches were doing really well for you on Amazon, maybe you look at Alibaba or AliExpress and you start purchasing watches and then selling watches on your own storefront as well as Amazon. Because people
Hmm.
can then find you from that storefront and say, okay, yeah, Joel Watches, they have a whole website over here. I'm going to go check out Joel Watches and I'm going to go buy products from Joel Watches. Now you're getting income from two sources, and one of them you completely own. The other one, if it disappears, you're not dead in the water.
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm looking at right now, and it just seems like something that, if you were wanting to get started, that would be the cheapest route to go, as far as an individual plan, just to test the waters.
Mhm.
But know where to get your products from. Do not sell someone else's product as your own. Like, especially if it's some name brand product and you wipe off the name and you're like, that's what I'm selling. Find a product that is able to be resold. Um, I know Alibaba, like allows you. I've seen tons of ads for it, like allows you to be your own businessman and allows you to sell stuff. My problem is, and I've seen these, I can't remember the exact terminology for it, but a lot of people will buy these products, cheap products on China from China, and they will try and sell them if they're really cheap, and they'll try and sell them for like $200. I remember watching this video. This girl bought these $200 boots, and they came and they smelled like cat pee. Like they literally smelled like cat pee, and she got them, and she said she paid $200, and when she tried to return them, there was no, like, Alibaba's guy that was she was buying from wouldn't let her really sell them, get them back. So know your product. Do not sell. Like, my advice to you, and I'm sure Nick can clarify, is do not buy something you know is going to be a bad product, because then you get a bad rap. Then you're going to be have a bad rep forever. And if you ever try and open another store, they're going to see that thing of like, I bought something from them and it was bad. I'm not buying from them again. So know your products. Know where to get them from. Get them a good get them for a good rate, but get good quality. And do not sell something you know is not going to make someone happy.
And yeah, and I would say if you're just starting, I wouldn't even start on focusing on getting your own product. I would say start. I think as soon as you download or sign up for the Amazon FBA, you can download that app and go in there. Go walk around the store and start scanning stuff with the app and see what, like, maybe you'll find something that's selling for $10 and it's actually listed on Amazon for 75. Who knows? But like I would start there, purchase products at a discount and try to resell those products, because then you can get name brand.
Mm-hmm.
You could end up purchasing some high quality stuff that you end up finding really cheap. What we've found is that some websites will kind of give you alerts on where certain stores are selling discounts. So it's not across the board. Like, not every Walmart's going to have this deal, but the Walmart at this location does. They're selling it for 75% off. So if you can go scoop that up at 75% off and then sell it for full price on Amazon, you're going to make a decent amount of money. And it's, I mean, one of them, those Allo security cameras,
Uh-huh.
it was like a full Allo system, like 4 cameras. I think they were selling it for like $20. It's like a $350 system.
Hmm.
And they disappeared right away. Like, we couldn't get our hands on them. But stuff like that, like, it's brand new in the box. You end up purchasing it for $25 for whatever reason, and then able to turn around and make a $250 profit. Like, that's awesome.
Now, I know that I don't know if everybody who's listening knows about this, but do you know about those crates you can buy? There's just random stuff in it, and you buy it for like an auction, and you sell it for like whatever. Is that something that our listeners should be looking at? Or, I mean, I've thought about it, but I know it's really hit or miss on those. Like, they show all this
I
tech stuff in it, and then it's not tech stuff. It's like a bunch of crap.
I have not messed with that at all. I've heard of it, but I haven't even, like, I just turn the other way. That scares me.
Yeah, it's like I've seen like these horror stories of people who are like, "Oh yeah, they say I can get all these routers and all this computer equipment," and then they get it, and it's like a bunch of random Barbie dolls or something. It's like, I
Like
paid
a
all this
bag of
money
cat
for all,
food.
yeah. It's like I paid all this money, and now I'm getting screwed. So I don't particularly think you should. And some people are really good at that. They'll go to these auctions, they'll look at these boxes, like, I'm bidding on that. But then other people will bid online for these things, and it's not great. Um, so, like, yeah, know where you're buying from. That's all I gotta say. Know where you're buying from, because you
Yeah.
never know what you're gonna know. And like Nick said, like, use the app. It's and go through and see what other people are selling, and see if you can get it just as good, and then sell it maybe at a different price. Um, like, I don't 100% know if I would get into this, as far as selling. I don't even know what I would sell. Like, what kind of stuff could I sell? Like, if I was to create my own merch line or something, then maybe I'd be interested in doing it. But as far as like this, if you're making it a full-time job, like Nick said, do your research. Don't just jump gun ho into it. You don't want to get stuck. And also, I agree with what he said. Do not settle on Amazon. Make sure you're not stuck there where you're gonna be like, if something happens and you need to go somewhere else, all your merch is just up in the air. Like, make sure you're able to move and go somewhere else too. Um, Real quick, Nick, I wanted to, I know we're on the last few minutes of the show, but real quick, I know we've talked about this before, but could you give my listeners just overview of yourself a little bit, and what you do, and your about your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
So I'm Nick Nelbach, host of the 9 5 podcast and owner of the 9 5 to Freedom brand. I'm currently in the process of building up my own brand and basically trying to leave behind the 9 to 5 and the whole premise of the brand is to kind of take people along on that journey and kind of give them inspiration, motivation, strategies to do the same. So on the podcast, it's a weekly podcast where I bring on a new entrepreneur each week, and we talk about their transition from a 9 to 5 into full-time entrepreneurship into something they've built. And we talk about how they did that, what it was like going like into that transition period, and then we also cover strategies and tactics for you so that you can basically kind of replicate what they're doing and try to build your own brand and create something of your own. And if you're interested in that, if that's a topic that you would enjoy, you can find the podcast at 95podcast.com. And 95 is all spelled out. It's NINEFIVE podcast.com. And there you can basically find all the episodes, the interviews, and it actually takes you right into the 9 5 to freedom, I don't know, brand itself. So yeah, if it's something you're interested in, definitely
Yeah,
love to
and
have
oh,
you
I will
over.
say, yeah, Nick's got some great guests on there. I've actually been on his podcast, and that will be airing. Would you say April?
Yep, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, and honestly, some of the guests he's had on, I've just enjoyed and actually taken a lot back for myself in my personal life and business life. There's just so much to learn from Nick's guests and Nick from himself. Like he's learning, we're learning. I mean, it's just a whole big learning curve for everybody uh, to hear different people talk about how they overcame the 9 to 5 work thing. So definitely tune into Nick's podcast. I've enjoyed listening to it, and actually, me and Nick connected over that. So we've kind of built a relationship on top of our on top of his podcast and as far as his 9 to 5 entrepreneurship goes. So, but Nick, thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I hope we can keep having you on in the future. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Please stay safe out there, and everyone have a great day.